Yesterday, the Pentagon hit the brakes on the biggest cybersecurity compliance program it has ever attempted. CMMC Phase 2, the third-party audit. More than 100,000 defense contractors were racing to pass by November, is suspended, effective immediately. The reason, straight from the Pentagon's Chief Information Officer, the math just simply doesn't math. On Monday, Defense Department CIO Kirsten Davies and Acquisition Chief Michael Duffey suspended Phase 2, which was set to take effect November 10th. A CMMC Reform Task Force stood up the same day, with orders to review the entire program and report back in 60 days. And the request for information is not coming. It is already live on sam.gov, with industry responses due August 14th. When reporters asked whether CMMC could be canceled outright, nobody said no. CMMC was born in 2019, after a decade of contractors promising they were protecting sensitive defense data. It never invented new controls. It said, "You already agreed to the 110 controls in NIST 800-171. Now prove it." Industry pushed back, it became CMMC 2.0, and after years of rulemaking, it hit real contracts last November as Phase 1, self-assessments. You grade your own homework, and an executive signs an affirmation. Phase 2 was the teeth. Starting this November, contracts touching controlled, unclassified information would have required a third-party assessment before award. Now the math that doesn't math. Over 100,000 companies still needed that assessment. Approved assessment organizations, roughly 100. The Small Business Administration toured small contractors this year. CMMC was their #1 issue, with later phases estimated at over $7 billion a year. A Government Accountability Office report in March warned the standards could push small businesses out of the defense industrial base entirely. So the Pentagon's framing is simple. Pausing Phase 2 keeps suppliers in the market at exactly the moment the military needs them most. Now, the part half the industry is about to get wrong. Almost none of your actual obligations changed yesterday. Phase 1 is still in force. Self-assessments, SPRS scores, and signed affirmations are still conditions of award. The DFARS Safeguarding Clause 7012 has been in contract since 2017, and it still is. During the pause, the Department will enforce NIST 800-171 Revision 2 through self-assessments and select government-led assessments. The implementing memo even bars program managers from asking for a third-party assessment in new contracts during the review. Self-assessment levels only. The honor system is now mandatory, and a false affirmation is False Claims Act territory. The Justice Department has already collected settlements there. They suspended the audit. They did not suspend the requirement. And they definitely did not suspend the adversary. So, my read. Both sides of this are true at once. The burden was real. For a 50-person machine shop, proving compliance can cost more than the controls themselves. But self-attestation is the honor system, and the honor system is how we got here. Years of inflated self-scores while adversaries walked out with weapons designs. Davies said one thing I'll co-sign completely. Every dollar spent on security is a wise dollar spent. If you spent the last year hardening your network, you did not waste a dime. What to watch? RFI responses close August 14th. The task force reports around mid-September, and then we learn whether Phase 2 comes back reformed, replaced, or not at all. Meanwhile, the pause is not a nap. Small contractors still have to actually be secure, and a few Gula Tech Adventures portfolio companies live in exactly that gap. BEMO runs managed Microsoft security for small and mid-sized defense contractors. Walking companies to CMMC readiness is their day job. If this week's news left you unsure what still applies to your contracts, that is exactly the phone call they exist for. Senteon hardens and enforces your endpoint settings against CIS benchmarks, so the 110 controls you attested to are still in place next quarter, not just on the day somebody signed the affirmation. Configuration drift is how a clean self-assessment quietly turns into a false one. Senteon's whole job is making sure it never drifts. And Automox patches endpoints autonomously. Flaw remediation is literally one of those 110 controls, and it is a lot cheaper to automate than to document. When some form of Phase 2 comes back, and something will, the shops that automated will have nothing to catch up on. That's the read. Security was never the paperwork. I'm vRon. Thanks for watching Gula Tech Adventures.